Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I figured I'd pop in and start a conversation with you guys, see what you guys think. And there's, a very hot topic today is, looking at society today and how, women are behaving and how men are behaving between each other and what has brought upon this dynamic between them. Subject of high controversy, where I'm sure we all have something to say, is the movement of feminism, right? So feminism, the movement of feminism is basically an extreme movement of rebellion, really, where the women are saying, I'm not happy and I want more. And I want to be recognized as, a human being just as much, just on the same level as the man is, and gaining more privileged. Because at the time, there was a lot of control put onto the ladies and onto the women of the society where, they would be controlled, by their fathers. Their fathers would decide everything having to do with their upbringing, to what degree they would go to school, and when they come back home and help their mothers with the other children, learn the life of, taking on their own home and their own responsibilities within the home. And so, who they would marry, the fathers would decide that. They sometimes wouldn't have any say. They would go to the mother saying, Mom, please help me. But then, primarily it came down to the father, and he would decide, and often these girls were like 12 or 13, just getting their period, and they'd be like, okay, you're going to marry this dude over here, who's dirty. So women haven't always had it very easy. And so the unprivileged often get exploited from the more privileged, and hence came the movement of feminism, women trying to get a better quality of life, for themselves, but for their daughters and for their daughters' daughters, basically. So it's not a bad movement in itself. You know, Slavery bring about a rebellion, and to relieve themselves and to fight for their rights. And so it's the same type of idea here, right? It's wanting to have a better quality of life and being recognized, a human, just as, equal as another human being, basically. So I will be giving, a little bit of my impressions here, my personal views, of course. But I do recognize that it's not everyone that shares the same views as I do, and that's fine. So feel free to comment and write what your beliefs and what your thoughts are on this very highly controversial subject, but always with respect, right? We're all allowed to have our thoughts and our beliefs, and that's fine. So always with respect, please. And so back to the subject, right? So so the fathers would have all the authority over their daughters. And then once they were married, that authority was transferred over to their husbands, which they would decide after that, what they were allowed to do. And, often that would just remain stay at home, take care of the kids, make dinner. I want dinner at that time when I walk in the door. And make sure that you're always pretty, and you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to talk to them, and there's like high control there as well, right? So I think that with the movement, with the ladies coming out of that, saying enough is enough, we're not playing that role anymore, and being able to be more dependent and autosufficient, and getting our needs met. There's the men in this situation are having to adjust themselves. It's not an easy thing to having, in these movements to adjust, right? So they're used to one thing and they were fine with it, but now, oh, look, we have to change. And change is not easy. It's not easy for everyone. And so this is where we are today. Today, with the, the movement having to do with, the ladies going to work and then trying that out, seeing that they're doing pretty good, and they're able to do the functions that has bring them to a new consciousness of, what, we're not meant just to stay home and be vulnerable, we can actually go out and make money, and we're pretty good at it, and then the arrival of the contraceptive pill, that was in the 1940s, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 1940s. That's not 1960s, I think. 1960s, yeah. 1960s, that's not far away, Like, that's relatively, like, it's within, this past 100 years. That's crazy. So, with the arrival of the pill and the lady saying, okay, now I can take control of my body. There's a lot of women out there that were married, and because the influence of, the church and the society, and the ideas, well, they were taking the pill secretively, and often they would say, oh, I don't know, I'm not falling pregnant. But in fact, they were taking the contraceptive pills because they did not want to have 10 children to take care of, because they wanted to have a life. They wanted to experience different things that life has to offer, and they didn't want to stay, in the home forever and ever. They want to try something new. So, the pill had bring out about this movement as well, right? And so, this being said, media, oh yes, the internet, arrival of the internet has a big impact on the society that we have today. I think it's arrived like in the 1960s. 1960s was the army that would use the internet, and then by 1990, 2000 mark, that's when the most of the population, the big portion of the population gained access into the internet, and then the applications, and there you go. So having, entertainment business and all that industry had, again, a large impact on what our teenagers are seeing today. And of course, along the lines of, the women taking more and more space in this society where they're being recognized as having more power. Well, this comes and is reflected, on, to what extent, they're showing their bodies, for example, or they feel comfortable, walking around, where we would never see that in the past, walking around, with their skin showing so much, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that it's what's happening right now, right? So, and it's at a point where in a few years, just, a very small range period, big changes have arisen, and it's important, I think, to take a moment to reflect on what and watch what's going on and see where we are playing a part as an individual in this collectivity, in this way of, in this movement, I think, that's happening. And that's a way of staying present also, right? Is to understand where we've been, seeing what's happening right now, and then consciously choosing, where we want to position ourselves, but in a way that's conscious and alert and aware. That way we can be responsible, for our output in this society, in this world. So yeah. So again, I think we all need each other as a species, right? Women and men, we need each other, because if, from one day to the other, let's say one would drop off the face of this earth, let's say women drop off the face of this earth, well, there'd be no, no more continuancy, and there would be no more humankind, because we need each other. So at the very basic, so that much more we need each other, I think, energetically and emotionally. And I think that right now those links are being challenged. That connectivity is being challenged, and I think that what could help is conversations such as this, And now that we have the internet, it's a platform where we can share our thoughts and our feelings and our view on the world, and hopefully have, an impact, minor. It's basically a drop in this vast ocean. But if everybody, comes in together and has the discussion, I think there's can be a lot to be gained from sharing from each other and learning from each other in this manner. So yeah, so I'd be really interested in knowing what you guys think and what you've observed on your end. And so if you enjoyed this video, if you want to encourage me to do more videos such as this one, feel free to just press that thumbs up and subscribe. All right, gang, have a good day. One love.